Atiqur Rahman, is to you. What do you make of these sar tan se juda threats, not restricted to an individual, not restricted to a city or even a state, sir?
Gaurav, your voice is quite interrupted as I gather what you have asked me. You know, this negative slogan should have an antidote, and the community miserably failed to provide one to the community. Rather, from day one, the community members should have come on the forefront condemning that whoever was demanding the either arrest or an apology from Nupur Sharma was not on the right track. Blasphemy does not stand, does not count as far as Islam and Quran goes. The system of Prophet Muhammad was to grant mercy and pardon to all those who used to, abuse him. So
There
rather than
seriously
we
is
are
a
looking
major disconnect in what you're saying on television and what some of these people seem to be doing on the streets. Look at the fear. Look at the fear. Within 4 minutes of a WhatsApp being shared, there is a threat call. There is a death threat. And then we hear the narrative, dare hue hai. But let me take this to Abhijit Iyer Mitra. The killer, according to the investigators, had a hit list, and these killers had a hit list, alleged killers, the accused, had a hit list both in Amravati and in Udaipur. And Abhijit, this clearly is not a heat of the moment crime. It appears rather well planned, God forbid, even orchestrated.
Look, everything that has followed on from the TV debate where Nupur Sharma's comments were taken seems to be orchestrated. The outrage was orchestrated. You have the same people that have in the past orchestrated certain online outrage campaigns, doing it all over again. What was different this time was those outrage campaigns did not have real-life kinetic effects on the ground. This was the first time one of these online outrage campaigns actually eventuated in very serious consequences on the ground, riots, and now a whole series of murders. This is not going to end here. Because remember, one of the things that ISIS's so-called training module, if you want to call it that, was to allow for self-radicalization to happen through distance education and distance learning.
Okay.
So you will see that sort of self-radicalization through, do-it-yourself, jihad for dummies, if you want to call it, modules, being circulated online. This has been happening. We've known that this has been happening for a long time. And there is a certain coordination happening behind the scenes where it is not just targeting Nupur Sharma, but it is also targeting anyone who supports or speaks up for Nupur Sharma. And to note very importantly, this is mostly, not entirely, but mostly happening in rural or semi-rural areas that are not full metros, which is where the sort of societal schisms are a lot deeper, the ghettoization is a lot deeper, and the sort of climate conducive to radicalization is much higher.
Climate conducive to radicalization, and what you're indicating is that this is orchestrated, Supriya Srinath. This is a cause for serious concern. It would appear this is a serious threat to the nation that appears to be downplayed, and a hit list both in Amravati and in Udaipur. Clear indication this was very well planned, ma'am.
I am glad we are finally paying attention to the level of hatred that exists in India today. A level of hatred and a level of bigotry where people are killing each other. And absolutely any amount of radical action by no matter who's doing it, the Hindus, the Muslims, anybody else, needs to be denounced. That is what we should collectively do. What should we in public life collectively do? Ask for peace. Join our hands and say, ye dharmandhata chhodiye, ye nafrat ki aag lagana chhodiye. We have to coexist peacefully. Why is it, and I'm sorry I'm making this political, but why is it that we do not hear an appeal for peace from the man who can appeal to the most number of Indians, India's Prime Minister? 16 parties have come together, written a letter, sir, देश का माहौल बिगड़ रहा है, शांति की अपील करिए। राजस्थान चीफ मिनिस्टर बार बार कह रहे हैं शांति की अपील करिए। The reality though is that look at what is happening and radical elements what they are doing, and BJP has to do some explaining here. The Lashkar-e-Toiba terrorist is your IT cell head. The Udaipur guy has links, and the Lashkar-e-Toiba terrorist who was caught as a BJP member is not just a BJP member. He is standing in the room with Home Minister. I think that's a security threat not just to the country but to the Home Minister himself. Okay. Is the government and the party complicit? I mean, what is happening?
That's a grave charge that you've leveled.
Is the government, the social fabric of this country,
is the government and the party complicit? That's
Absolutely.
A very, very serious charge that you've leveled. Law and order, of course, is a state subject. Should the chief minister in these respective states not be taking action instead of appealing for peace? Yes, appeal for peace, but punish the accused, catch the accused, punish the accused.
I will answer that question.
Ratan Sharda, I will come back to you. Ratan Sharda, is there growing radicalization? Is there growing radicalization, Ratan Sharda, that we are either refusing to come to terms with or not coming to terms with, trying to bury it under the carpet, or are we actually burying our heads in sand like an ostrich?
Gaurav, thanks for calling a spade a spade. I don't want to get into a political wrangling with the lady who has been, again, going back to the politics of hate. I would just remind her that there were maximum number of terror attacks during UPA regime, and all of them were tried to be hushed up by saying that these were, it has no religion, etc., etc. At the same time, hate was created against Hindus. But be that it may, what is the main reason? Reason is the synchronic attacks happened even during Rohingya riots, if you remember, across India using the social media. It was the biggest hate campaign against Northeast Indians. It was against the people. There was riots in Mumbai. No action was taken, and government was UPA Congress government. Then if you look at the entire series of CA related agitations, same thing happened. The agitations during Friday for last so many months, first on hijab, then on Nupur Sharma excuse, were conducted across India around the same time, same day, and there were riots with very synchronized efforts with stones and lathis and whatnot. And we have people called it. Look at the network. We have lawyer who was tutoring people when she was arrested. There was international hue and cry. We had a journalist who made a fake Gujarat story, and now she has been converted into a media icon. We have a fact checker who started the hate cycle against Nupur Sharma and the entire Hindu society, which you are seeing today. When he is arrested, he is called a journalist, and then he is being created into some kind of hero.